okay.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Can they not get her off?
I'm not fine with that.
Too bad.
Push me one more time. Push me one more time. In front of everyone, push me one more time. I'm gonna get your face. I'll push you. Do it. Go on. How about you calm down? Alright, I've said, who's got a problem with me? I'll walk off this plane. You push me one more time. I'll push your face. I'll smash your face in that. I'm going away. Everyone, stay the away from me. No, you stay away from me. I'm going, I'm walking around.
What is he doing?
Yo, make sure his.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the captain back with you. The situation is, as you may know, we had a passenger.
Shoot him. Guns out. Oh my god. This is this. First for everything.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck as we sort through this, apparently that individual approached the aircraft from the outside and tried to gain entrance to the aircraft. That's the information we have now. We are surrounded by law enforcement right now. They're going to, they've apparently apprehended this individual right now. We see him being taken into custody. Because of all the personnel around the airplane, we have had to secure both power plants, both engines.
You're screaming at the baby. I'm not screaming. I'll be quiet now, please. Okay, I'm sorry. I was really stressed out. Please, Tabitha. Thank you.
People land the plane.
She's going with their hostess. She's going with their hostess.
Ladies and gentlemen, please the captain switch on the fantasy this time. We kindly ask you to take your seat.
That's a job that you getting paid for. So I hope you guys.
Come on,
Leave me alone! Stop it!
Airline passengers in all-out brawls, fighting with cops, threatening fellow travelers, at times looking totally hammered.
Do you mind just sitting down really quick?
No, I don't.
Flight attendants are employed and trained to perform aircraft security and customer service functions. Therefore, it is much needed to be calm, collected, quick-thinking, pleasant, and flexible. But what we don't know is that flight attendants are constantly exposed to a variety of occupational exposures, such as poor cabin air quality, cosmic ionizing radiation, cabin disinfection pesticides, high levels of occupational noise, and heavy physical activity. Harassment has long been an issue for cabin crews in various airline companies worldwide, where employee safety and well-being are put at stake. Records of physical and verbal harassment has stayed in an alarming amount for years and it still hasn't been properly addressed or been given an effective solution. Harassment is a form of employment discrimination that violates Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Age Discrimination and Employment Act of 1967, ADIA. People use the term harassment to describe any workplace treatment that seems unfair or where employees are put at stake. Harassment has been generally defined as an unwanted, unwelcomed, and uninvited behavior that demeans, threatens, and offends the victim and puts a person in fear of their safety that can result to their low-level performance at work. All types of workplace harassment are illegal and not only affect an employee's productivity, comfort, safety at work, but it puts the organization in legal jeopardy. A disruptive passenger is a passenger who fails to respect the rules of conduct on an aircraft, fails to follow instructions, and thereby disturbs the good order on the aircraft. A disruptive passenger can be unruly and/or unlawful. Unruly if the passenger commits acts against the airline rules, compromising the safety of the aircraft, persons, property, or good order on board. A disruptive passenger can be unlawful if he or she commits the same acts that not against airline rules but against the penal law of the state. Breaching penal laws of the state is punishable by law. Police will be waiting upon arrival for the unlawful passenger and the case will be brought to court. Unruly behaviors are illegal consumption of narcotics, refusal to comply with safety instructions, verbal and physical confrontation, uncooperative passenger, refuses to follow instructions, making threats, sexual abuse or harassment, screaming and annoying behavior. There are 4 levels of threat disruptive passengers may pose. Level 1, verbal disruptive behavior. Level 2, physically abusive behavior. Level 3, life-threatening behavior. And Level 4, attempted or actual breach of the cockpit. The researchers based their solution on the protocol Emirates imposed in their airline. It seems like this is just the tip of the iceberg, cases where the victims have been brave enough to come forward. The truth is, most go unreported because the victims think nothing will be done about it or fear the situation could only get worse. A survey has found 65% of cabin crew have been sexually harassed at work. Of those, 4 in 5 suffered at the hands of a coworker, and 3 in 5 who targeted by passengers. Of those who did report it, 84% were unsatisfied by the airline's response. An airline's policy for dealing with unruly passengers should be robust and fully endorsed by senior management. Company policies might include provisions to, first, provide necessary awareness training and the appropriate procedures and protocols to identify potentially unruly behavior and to intervene when unruly behavior occurs. Second, prevent unruly passengers from boarding and encourage ground staff to detect and report unruly passenger behavior. Third, empower cabin crew and ground employees to take reasonable steps to prevent unruly and intoxicated behavior. Should such behavior occur, ensure that they are appropriately trained and empowered to deal with it as effectively as practicable. Fourth, support crew members and ground employees taking such action. Fifth, encourage the police or local authorities to prosecute unruly passengers, especially when there has been an assault or threats to staff or other passengers. And lastly, provide appropriate training to cabin crew and ground employees in dealing with conflict and its aftermath. As students, we call on the entire airline industry to step up to combat harassment and recognize the impact it has on safety. According to Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, prevention is the best tool to eliminate harassment in the workplace. Employers are encouraged to take appropriate steps to prevent and correct unlawful harassment. They should clearly communicate to employees that unwelcome harassing conduct will not be tolerated. They can do this by establishing an effective complaint or grievance process, providing anti-harassment training to their managers and employees, and taking immediate and appropriate action when an employee complains. Employers should strive to create an environment in which employees feel free to raise concerns and are confident that those concerns will be addressed. Employees are encouraged to inform the harasser directly that the conduct is unwelcome and must stop. Employees should also report harassment to management at an early stage to prevent its escalation. Airlines should strive to create and achieve a work environment in which cabin crews are treated with nobleness and respect. The environment of the airline company should be characterized by mutual trust and absence of intimidation, oppression, and exploitation. A company should prioritize the cabin crew's safety. Through pursuance of this policy and by educating employees, the company of the airlines will seek to prevent, correct, and discipline behavior that violates this policy.